Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like something was just off? You're with someone new and everything seems great. He's charming, attentive, and even says all the right things. But then, there's this quiet voice in the back of your mind whispering, something doesn't add up. Maybe you ignore it, thinking, am I overreacting? Maybe it's just my imagination. Well, what if I told you that little voice might be your greatest ally? Picture this. You're out on a cozy Friday night, texting the guy you're dating. He tells you he's busy with work and can't call tonight. Fair enough, right? But then a random detail pops into your head. You've never seen where he works. He's never mentioned his office. And why does he always text at night but never calls after 10 p.m.? What if those little quirks are part of a bigger story, a story he doesn't want you to know? Today, we're not just talking about the usual signs. You've probably heard about the obvious ones: disappearing acts, hiding his phone, or refusing to introduce you to his friends. Those are important, sure, but they're not the whole picture. No, today, I'm going to show you the hidden signs, the ones most people overlook. These signs aren't just subtle, they're strategic. They're how someone might try to blend deception into their daily life without raising suspicion. Hidden sign number 1, he lives in the gaps of time. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to exist in two completely different realities? One moment, he's present, engaged, charismatic, and fully there for you. And then, without warning, he vanishes. Days, nights, weekends, you can never quite predict when he's available, but when he is, it's perfect, almost too perfect. Here's what's really happening. A man who's already in a relationship often creates pockets of time where he can exist outside his primary life. These are his gaps, moments he's carved out specifically for you, carefully curated to ensure his two worlds never collide. What's the hidden clue here? Pay attention to his patterns. Does he only text or call during lunch breaks, commutes, or random windows of time when he's running errands? Does he avoid weekends altogether, or always have excuses for why he can't spend holidays with you? A man who's truly single doesn't live in time gaps. He integrates you into his schedule because you're part of his world, not a secret he's hiding in the cracks. Hidden sign number 2, the inconsistent consistency game. This one is tricky because it feels like the opposite of a red flag at first. He seems consistent, always texting at certain times, always calling at others, but that's exactly where the problem lies. A man who's genuinely single has the freedom to be spontaneous, to text you randomly at 2 p.m. just because he thought of you. But someone who's juggling two lives, his consistency isn't about you, it's about controlling his chaos. For example, if he always texts but never calls after a certain time, it's worth asking why. Or if he's mysteriously unavailable for long stretches but comes back with perfectly rehearsed explanations, that's another clue. His consistency isn't a sign of stability, it's a carefully managed system to keep everything under wraps. The key here is to ask yourself, is his consistency natural or calculated? Why this matters. Here's the thing. When someone is already in a relationship, they're not just managing their time, they're managing your perception of reality. They're creating an illusion, a version of themselves that feels just real enough to keep you hooked, but not so real that it disrupts their other life. The danger isn't just in being lied to, it's in investing your time, energy, and emotions into someone who's never been fully honest with you. That's why recognizing these signs matters, not to catch someone in a lie, but to protect your peace, your energy, and your self-worth. Stay tuned, because the next signs will blow your mind. They're the ones you probably haven't heard before, but once you do, you'll never look at a relationship the same way again. Hidden sign number 3, the public but private paradox. Let's talk about social media. You'd think in today's world, someone who's single would be more than happy to share their life online. Pictures, updates, maybe even the occasional tag. But here's where it gets tricky. Some men have mastered the art of being publicly private. What does that mean? On the surface, he seems active online. He posts about his workouts, his dog, maybe even his latest trip. But have you noticed something missing? You. There's no mention of you, no tagged photos, no subtle clues that he's even dating someone. Now, I'm not saying every man needs to broadcast his love life to the world. Plenty of private people don't share personal details online. But the real red flag here is when his online presence feels too curated. It's as if he's deliberately controlling the narrative, ensuring there's no overlap between his public life and the one he's living with you. What should you look for? Here are some subtle clues. Does he avoid tagging you in posts, even when you're out together? Does he untag himself in photos that might hint at your relationship? Is his profile private, but not for reasons he can clearly explain? The paradox here is that he seems open, but when you take a closer look, his online world is carefully edited to protect his other life. A man who's genuinely single has no reason to hide you. Remember, privacy is one thing, but secrecy? That's a completely different story. Hidden sign number 4, the overcompensator. This one might surprise you. Most people think that someone hiding a relationship would be distant or unavailable. But sometimes it's the opposite. They try too hard to prove they're single. He might flood you with compliments, over-explain his plans, or constantly reassure you that he's different. Why does this happen? Guilt. When someone knows they're deceiving you, they may overcompensate to make sure you don't catch on. It's their way of managing your suspicions before they arise. Here's how it plays out. He might shower you with gifts or attention, but avoid deeper conversations about the future. He might tell you how lucky you are to have him, as if to distract from his inconsistencies. He might even go out of his way to talk about how much he dislikes cheating, almost like he's preemptively defending himself. At first, this can feel flattering. Who doesn't love extra attention? But over time, you might notice a disconnect. His actions don't fully align with his words, and there's always a sense that he's trying to keep you distracted from asking too many questions. The key here is balance. A healthy relationship feels natural, not forced. When someone is trying too hard to prove something, it's often because there's something they don't want you to see. Hidden sign number 5, the out-of-reach routine. Imagine this, you're out with friends and you try to call or text him, no answer. Hours go by. Then suddenly he's back with an excuse. Sorry, my phone died. Or, I was in a meeting. Maybe even, I left my phone at home. Now let's be real, life happens. Phones die, meetings run long, and sometimes people genuinely forget to reply. But if this becomes a pattern, it's worth asking why. Here's what's really happening. Men who are juggling 2 lives often create deliberate gaps in communication to avoid getting caught. When they're with their primary partner, they can't risk being too available to you. So they go off the grid for just long enough to keep things manageable. The hidden clue here? Pay attention to how he explains his absences. Does he give vague or overly rehearsed excuses? Does he avoid giving specifics, like where he was or what he was doing? A man who's genuinely invested in you will make an effort to stay connected, even during busy times. A game changer, the accountability test. Here's a unique approach you probably haven't heard before. Give him a chance to prove himself through accountability. This isn't about playing games or setting traps, it's about creating opportunities for transparency. For example, suggest meeting his friends or family casually. A man with nothing to hide will jump at the chance to integrate you into his life. Ask open-ended questions about his schedule or habits. Does he respond with confidence or defensiveness? Propose an unplanned video chat or surprise visit. How does he react? The point here isn't to catch him off guard, it's to see how naturally he includes you in his world. A man who's truly available will welcome these opportunities because he sees you as part of his future. But someone who's hiding something, he'll avoid them at all costs. Why you deserve better. Let me say this loud and clear. Recognizing these signs isn't about being paranoid. It's about valuing your time, your energy, and your emotional well-being. The goal isn't to play detective, it's to protect your peace. Because here's the truth. When someone is truly available, their actions will make it obvious. You won't have to decode their behavior or second-guess their intentions. Real love feels open, honest, and freeing, not like a puzzle you're constantly trying to solve. In the next section, we'll explore one final hidden sign that's a total game changer. Plus, I'll share the single most powerful tool you can use to avoid wasting your time on the wrong person. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Hidden sign number 6, the selective openness strategy. Here's something most people don't think about. When someone is hiding a double life, they're not entirely closed off. In fact, they're often strategically open about certain parts of their life to gain your trust. It's a clever tactic. They share just enough to seem transparent while carefully keeping the critical details hidden. For example, he might tell you about his job in great detail, but never mention his coworkers or workplace dynamics. He could talk about his family, but you never meet them or see photos of them on his phone. He might mention traveling or going out with friends, but avoids sharing who he's with or where exactly he's going. This selective openness is designed to make you feel included, while deflecting attention from the parts of his life he's protecting. Here's the key. Pay attention to the gaps. Are there certain topics or people he consistently avoids discussing? Does he change the subject when you bring up something specific, like meeting his friends or learning more about his daily routine? These gaps aren't accidents, they're deliberate, the unseen life test. Now let's dig deeper into something I call the unseen life test. This concept is simple but powerful. A man who's truly available will want to integrate you into his unseen life, the parts of his world you don't immediately experience, like his family, friends, and daily habits. Here's how you can apply it. 1. Ask about his routines. Does he share openly about his day-to-day activities, or does he stick to vague generalities? 2. Suggest joining him for something ordinary. For instance, say, "I'd love to grab lunch near your office one day," or "I'd like to see your favorite coffee spot." If he resists or makes excuses, that's a red flag. 3. Be curious about his community. Who are the people he spends time with? If he's hesitant to introduce you to anyone or avoids invitations to meet your friends, it's worth investigating why. The bottom line, a man who genuinely wants you in his life will invite you in, not keep you at arm's length. Your most powerful tool, intuition. Here's the truth. You don't need a list of red flags to know when something's wrong. Deep down, you already know. Your intuition, the gut feeling you get when something feels off, is your greatest ally. But here's the problem. Too many people ignore it. They rationalize their discomfort, thinking, maybe I'm just being insecure, or he wouldn't lie to me, right? And that's exactly where things start to go wrong. The most powerful tool you have in any relationship is your ability to trust yourself. If something doesn't feel right, don't dismiss it. Instead, lean into it. Ask questions, observe his behavior, and most importantly, give yourself permission to walk away if the answers don't align with what you deserve. Let me put it this way. Your intuition isn't just a warning system. It's a compass pointing you toward what's real, honest, and good for you. Trust it. Breaking free from dating fatigue. One of the biggest reasons people stay in relationships they know aren't right is what I call dating fatigue. After investing so much time and energy, it feels easier to stay than to start over. You tell yourself, maybe I can fix this, or what if I never find someone else? But here's the hard truth. Staying in a situation that drains you isn't saving you time, it's stealing it. The longer you stay, the less energy you have to invest in a relationship that truly fulfills you. The solution? Shift your perspective. Instead of seeing a breakup as a failure, see it as a course correction. Every relationship that ends is an opportunity to learn, grow, and move closer to the kind of love you deserve. And remember, time spent protecting your peace is never wasted. Walking away from someone who doesn't value you isn't a loss, it's a win. The final sign. He undermines your worth. This one might not seem obvious at first, but it's critical. A man who's hiding something often tries to keep you in a position where you doubt yourself. Why? Because when you're questioning your worth, you're less likely to question his behavior. Here's how it shows up. He might subtly dismiss your concerns, saying things like, "You're overthinking it," or "You're being dramatic." He could make you feel guilty for wanting clarity, saying, "Don't you trust me?" Or worse, he might shift the blame onto you, accusing you of being insecure or jealous. These tactics aren't just manipulative, they're destructive. A healthy relationship builds you up, it doesn't tear you down. If a man consistently undermines your feelings or avoids accountability, it's time to step back and ask, is this the kind of relationship I want? A closing message, you deserve more. Let me leave you with this. Recognizing these signs isn't about paranoia, it's about protecting your peace. You deserve a relationship that feels safe, honest, and full of trust. You deserve someone who shows up for you, not just when it's convenient, but because they genuinely value you. If you're seeing these signs and feeling unsure, take a step back. Reflect on what you want and what you deserve. And if walking away feels like the best choice, trust yourself to make it. Because the right person won't make you question their intentions. They'll make their love for you crystal clear. If this resonated with you, share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your experiences. And if you're ready to take control of your love life, check out my latest video, the top 7 traits of a man who's 100% serious about you. Let's continue this journey together.